Hello, welcome to our 5th lockdown craft video. I'm Esther, the artist in residence from East Kent Schools Together, and this week we're going to make frames out of old tin food containers. During lockdown, it's been really important to me to have photos of my loved ones up and around, and that's why I've chosen this week. By now you'll all know how much I love recycling old bits and bobs around the house, so I've been saving for the last few weeks these old takeaway tins, and I think there was a bit of roast chicken in this one, and a lasagna in that one. So start saving now if you haven't got any, or have a rummage through the recycling, because you can make amazing stuff out of it. The inspiration from these frames is taken from the Mexican craft of Hojalata, which just means tin actually. The origins of Mexican Hojalata are the same as we're doing today. They're reusing old tin food packaging to make something much more beautiful and ornate. Now, you can spend ages flattening this out into a big silver sheet. That's how it started life, but that's a lot of hard work. So I'm actually going to start by cutting this stuff off, and we'll just work with this in the middle. So to begin with, you're going to take your tin can. I'm going to take one of the slightly bigger ones from my collection so that it's easier to show you what's going on. So I'm going to cut off this edge with some scissors. And I'm going to get rid of that bit. Now do be careful, because you can cut yourself on these edges. So just be aware of that and get help if you need. We need to get rid of all of these lumps and bumps. And to do that, you just need to use a spoon. And so that I don't leave marks on it, I'm just going to wrap it in an old rag. You might remember this from the borrow week. So I'm going to wrap that like that. And just start working, pressing quite hard. And you'll see those little lumps and bumps are already starting to go. Okay. So that's going to do for what I want it for now. And there we have a nice flat bit of metal. Now if you've noticed that you've gone through a little bit, or some of it's looking a little bit too creased, you can just go ahead and cut those bits off. Maybe neaten up the shape a little bit. Please don't worry if you only have a tiny tin, that doesn't matter. The little frames are really cute. And you can put those little Polaroid photos in them, they look lovely. So now I've got my nice neat bit of tin, what we want to do now is get a bit of paper that's the same size. So I've got mine here. That means you know you're not going to draw something that is larger than the area of tin you have, which would be a disaster. So I'm going to start just by drawing the outline of my frame and the area in which the picture is going to go. I'm going to keep mine symmetrical, but you can do whatever you like. To do that, I'm going to fold it in half, use my origami skills. Now I really like those quite ornate frames that have a rounded top, so I'm just going to use a bowl to mark my top. Okay, so I've got my area where my photo is going to go, or my painting, or whatever, and I've got the outline of the entire frame. Now within this we want to draw patterns, shapes, pictures, whatever you like, and really that's up to you, whatever you like to do. I really enjoyed looking at Mexican history, especially in their folk art and stuff. Mexico has a wonderful tradition of tile making, so I have made some sketches from what I've learned from that. What comes up again and again are these simplified flower shapes, which I really love. Also, there are a lot of birds and these lovely sort of organic leaf shapes. So I think I'm going to try and incorporate that into my design. But you can do whatever you like. Now, if you are not a confident drawer, then you could always do this on tracing paper. But as an artist, I do think if you can bring yourself to be brave and make up your own design, then that is far more unique and far more interesting. But I won't hold it against you. Now I love those birds on the tiles, so I'm going to do one of those in the middle. Great. Now I can always add to that later, but actually keeping it simple looks a lot better in the end, and I think I've already overcomplicated it a little bit, so we'll see. Okay. So there is my finished design for now, and now what we want to do is take this bit of paper to our tin. Just so it doesn't sort of shift around while we're working with it. Okay, so when we were rubbing our tin and doing the drawing, we were doing that on a hard surface. Now, it's really important that we do it on a slightly cushioned surface so that when we push through onto the tin, we're able to make larger indents because it's going somewhere soft and not being stuck by the hard table. So I'm using a tea towel. A piece of felt is ideal, but I don't have one. Or if you don't have either of those things, a newspaper's great. Anything squishy, really. And posh tin artists would use an embossing tool. Again, I don't have one of those, so I'm just going to use my pencil. Now what we're doing here is we're just tracing the lines that we made on our design and pushing them through onto the tin. So I'm going to start with my outline, pushing, you know, quite firmly. And you can see on the back where that's starting to make an indent. Now what I really don't want you to do here is worry about mistakes. And I mean this because mistakes are what makes your style. And so that's really important. Right, I think that's just about it. Just going to check on the other side. Does look like I've got most of it through. Can always go back to it if not. So I'm going to untape that now. and you can see the frame already starting to look nice. Now if you can see any bits that aren't as beautifully defined, you can go over those with your pencil directly onto the tin. And even better, to pick out your lines and make a little ridge, you can simply draw a line right next to the line you've already drawn, and that's going to create a lovely little ridge and look really fancy later. There's something incredibly relaxing about just slowly reinforcing these patterns. If you push from the other side, then it's going to have the effect of pushing the tin forward to create a sort of 3D look, and I quite like the idea of doing that on some of these bigger shapes. So I'm going to push from behind now. To make this bulge out. You see that? It's just push forward a bit. Will catch the light really nicely. So now that I have embossed all of my edges around all of my pattern, I'm just going to cut away around the frame. So if any of you were Blue Peter watchers when you were little, you'll remember this trick about cutting the inside of something out. You put a bit of blue tack on the back, and then you can push really firmly through with your pencil and it won't damage your surface or yourself. And then you'll have a little hole there. And then you can sneak your scissors in, and that will help you cut out the middle safely. Now, I do love the shiny silver look of these tins, but actually a really effective way of highlighting them and making them look extra special and less like a bit of tin, you can colour them in. And to do this, I found the absolute best way of doing it is with a Sharpie pen or other permanent coloured marker that stays on and really gets the iridescence of the metal through. I'm going to use the yellow for my bird. And you can see as I'm colouring over the foil, that shine is still coming through, but a really vibrant colour is also coming out. If you remember from my tiles, Mexican folk art tends to use really beautiful, vibrant colours. So I'm being inspired by that. So I think I've pretty much done now. I've made it really vibrant and bold. You can go as intricate as you like. It will just take you longer, but it will look really beautiful. I found a picture of Tess from about 14 years ago that I popped in, which is nice. And I'm going to put that on my Hall of Fame with the rest of my pictures. So what I've done here is the most basic kind of frame, and you can jazz that up as much as you like. And these behind me, I've created niches by sticking old takeaway boxes to the back, and that creates a nice sense of depth. You can layer up designs by sticking on extra bits of foil that you've engraved onto the top. You could completely leave them silver, which is nice. It leaves a nice kind of antique finish. So feel free to play around with it and really make it your own. Thank you so much for joining me throughout lockdown and crafting along with me. I really hope that craft has helped you through this difficult time. And I also hope that you've learnt some new skills to occupy you when you're free. I'm really grateful that you watched. Please feel free to post any questions or suggestions below, and I would love, as always, to see anything that you've made. I've loved seeing